the Browns got Spencer Fano with the number 9 pick. Then they got Casey Concepcion with the 24th pick. And then they doubled down on that wide receiver room. You know, they were not done with that wide receiver room, right? They said, we're going to fix it this year. And they went with the 39th pick, the first second-round pick that they had. Well, the only second-round pick they really had. And they drafted Denzel Boston. Woo! Denzel Boston, you know, from Washington. So over his 4 seasons at Washington, Boston appeared in 43 career games and totaled 132 receptions for 1,781 receiving yards and 20 touchdowns. In 2025, Boston averaged 4.4 yards after catch per reception, according to PFF. This guy is huge. He's totally different to Casey Concepcion, so they, you know, going to complement each other. And we're looking here at a at the Daniel Jeremiah's board. He's ranked number 23rd. So the Browns now got basically 3 first-rounders picked here, right? Guys who were ranked in the first round. And the 2026 consensus big board, Denzel Boston was ranked 25th, right? And then in the PFF, he was ranked 31st. So he was 3 guys who easily could have won in the first round. The Browns got him in the first and second round. Let's look at his fit with the Browns. As we're here, let me go and look at this and share this with you all. And here we go. And here it is. With the 39th pick in the 2026 draft, the Browns select Denzel Boston. Position wide receiver, pro-ready traits, route running and separation elite, run blocking versatility high. Denzel Boston 2025 stats, he played 12 games, had 56 receptions, 755 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, average yards per catch, 13.5. So he scored 10 touchdowns. Casey Concepcion scored 9 touchdowns, while the Browns wide receiving room last year only scored 4 touchdowns. I mean, that is what? 15 touchdowns more, right? That the Browns scored. How did he fit in the Brown? He integrates into the Browns, right? Perfect match for Coach Monken pro style, high versatile for diverse run schemes that prioritize speed and leverage, athletic frame to pave the way. His quote is, "My main objective when facing a defender is to ensure he doesn't return home feeling satisfied, being with his family. I wish for him to experience that from the game. That's the mindset I'm bringing to the Cleveland Browns." Again, this is a new breed of Browns coming here. I mean, when facing a defender is to ensure he doesn't return home feeling satisfied, being with his family. I wish for him to experience that from the game. I'm loving this. I am loving this. So let's look at when he got drafted. Let's look at the draft, his draft reactions here. So let me come here. That's him getting the call. So, and I want you to hear this because, again, the Browns are not playing. Andrew Berry's not playing. Here it is. Listen what Andrew Berry tells him and what he asks him for him.
Denzel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, look. Hey, I know the wait was a little longer than you wanted, but good things come to those who wait, and we're really excited to have you here in Cleveland. We're excited to make you Brown.
I'm excited. I'm excited to join there.
And here, this is what I want you to know. Were you pissed off after last night?
Yeah, I was hot.
Good. So listen. I want you to keep that same energy when on the field because I need you to be a bully, right? You're 6'4", 215. You're strong. You've got great hands. I need you to bring some bully ball to Cleveland on the perimeter, all right?
Yes, sir. For sure.
We're excited to make you a Brown here. I'm going to give you to Coach Monk, all right?
All right, cool.
Congrats, big boy.
Thank you.
Fired up to get you.
I'm fired up to be a part of the Browns, Coach.
Well, congrats. I'm going to pass it down the road here, okay?
All right.
Hey, Denzel, J.W. Johnson, good to see you again, man.
It's good to see you again, too.
Hey, man, congratulations. We're fired up to get you here, okay?
Thank you. I'm fired up to get over there.
All right, let's go get them, all right?
All right, let's go get them.
All right, congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
You hear Andrew Berry asking him, hey, were you hot about not getting picked last night? And he's like, yeah, I was hot. That's what Denzel said. Well, keep that in your mindset. I want you to play bully ball. You're 6'4", 215 pounds. You know, you catch the ball very well. And this is the difference between Casey Concepcion. We know Casey Concepcion has to work on that. Whereas Denzel Boston has to work on his speed. I mean, these are the things that we are looking. These are the things that we're looking at. So let's look in here and let's see the reactions for Denzel Boston getting picked by the Browns, right? Matt Harmon talking about, Cleveland getting the 2 wide receivers, KC and Denzel Boston. Let's see the reaction. Okay. All right. And this is courtesy of Draft Live by Yahoo Sports.
Look at that.
What they do.
You got to do it.
Who needs Miss Cleo when you got this show to give you all the psychic energy? Well done. Why does this work? Let me ask you this. As a wide receiver guy, Harmon.
Yeah.
What makes this combination work?
These are two, again, we were talking about the different flavors at the wide receiver position. These two guys could not be more different flavors. Denzel Boston, this big hulking perimeter receiver, and then Casey Concepcion, the smaller separator, speed player who can do a lot with the ball in his hands. The good thing is, though, I think these two guys can also be slightly interchangeable. Because Casey Concepcion is, in my opinion, the best press beater in the class, you can credibly line him up on ball and ask him to win against press man coverage and do sort of the X-receiver role. And Denzel Boston, because his best routes are those crossers, the digs, the in-breakers, you can line him up off ball and allow these two guys to move around. And if you watch Todd Monken's offense in Baltimore, that is what they did with a lot of these guys, especially Zay Flowers, who's a common comparison for Casey. They want to move him all over the formation, but they kind of lack that tough, physical, on-ball, blocking receiver, contested catch guy in that Ravens receiver room the last few years. That's who Denzel Boston can be. And again, if you just look at the Browns wide receiver depth chart, their current wide receiver one entering this weekend, Jerry Jeudy, he can really only do a couple of things, a small handful of things at the wide receiver position. Now you've got two guys who can do a lot of different things, really expanded roles, and they're both, in my opinion, more reliable from they're going to be in the right places at the right time. That's never really been Jerry Jeudy's game, and unfortunately, Cedric Tillman hasn't been able to stay healthy.
This is why you take the offensive lineman first.
Yes. Then you can do the fun things.
You can do the fun stuff.
You can have dessert.
Because what offensive tackles on the board here?
None. You're reaching for whatever guy you want. Yep.
And you hear what they said, that this is why you take the offensive tackle first, because there was no offensive tackle. And this is really, really cool. Let's hear from my boy Earl the Pearl from the fan and from you, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, because this is somebody that I listen to a lot. He knows what he's talking about. So let's listen to him on his reaction on Denzel Boston.
At this point, Andrew Berry is beyond cooking on day 2 of the NFL draft. First of all, pick 39, you get Denzel Boston, a 6'4" wide receiver that's going to be your X, a guy that was projected to go in the first round. Then you had the audacity to trade back up to 58 and take Emmanuel McNeil.
Well, I'm going to stop it there because he talks about the next pick, right? Which I don't want to talk about it yet. But again, these are the things that we're looking at. We want the Browns to build correctly, and this is what they're doing. Let's look at the Underdog Football Show and see what they have to say about Denzel Boston here. Here it is.
Denzel Boston does a lot of things well. He dunks on corners at the catch point. I think he can sink his hips on curls and dig routes. He can fight off press coverage as an X receiver. And to me, there's a reason why Washington moved him around the formation as a focal point. To me, he was by far their best player.
22 years of age, just shy of 6'4", 212 pounds, 82nd percentile hand size, and it definitely shows up when he is dunking on these undersized cornerbacks in the end zone. I am not saying at all that he is Drake London, but Washington, like you said, used him almost exactly how Atlanta and even USC utilized Drake London. I mean, motioned him into stacks. They lined him up in close to the line of scrimmage and the formation, condensed splits, crossers, curls, and zone, but he doesn't move like Drake London. So can that translate to the league?
Yeah, he is a diminished version of Drake London. Another one of my comps is like kind of Michael Pittman, who I think he has a better chance of turning into that style player, where ultimately he's going to be this kind of like short to intermediate player, and then on occasion will win on a big back shoulder. They ran a lot of like vertical routes at Washington. I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that in the pros. I do think he's going to be a very much lesser version of some of the guys that we're talking about. And I think it's like that 8 to 15 yard window. That's going to be the range he belongs in.
Again, this is courtesy of the Underdog Fantasy Football with Josh and Hayden. And they doubled down. So again, courtesy of the Underdog Football Show, here's another review of Denzel Boston. I really like these guys. They break it down so easy for people like me, right? Who need to understand a little better. So here it is.
I'm going to steal one from Matt Harmon, who called Denzel Boston like the Diet Coke version of Mike Evans. I think there's a lot of similarity in those two. Mike Evans added about 10, 15, 20 pounds from Denzel Boston. I think Mike Evans had a little bit more burst down the field. But I think you can use these guys fairly similarly. And if you get, 75% of the production from Mike Evans, he's pretty much going to be an X-receiver, and just hard to find guys like that. He has plenty of just high point dunks. You saw a couple of those against Washington State. I think his build-up speed is rock solid. He's not going to run a 4.3 or anything crazy like that. I think he can sink his hips fairly well. He made a couple of nice, really sliding grabs, a couple plays by the sideline as well. So I just think he's a very functional wide receiver. He's going to be able to block for you. His zone feel is good. His ability to beat man coverage is good. I think you're in good shape. So very curious to see what his testing numbers are going to be. But if they're a little bit faster than we're expecting, I do think there's going to be a lot more buzz for Denzel Boston. Kind of just does a lot of the dirty work that someone like Jordan Tyson, I'm just not sold, will be doing the same.
You hear he does the dirty work, and that's what we need. We need dogs. We need dogs in Cleveland. So let's see what Ashley Bastock had to say about Denzel Boston and how the Cleveland Browns doubled down in the wide receivers back to back.
Ashley Bastock of Cleveland.com. Day 2 of the NFL Draft. Round 2, the Browns just made their pick at number 39, and in kind of a surprise, they doubled down, but I think it's a good double down in a position they needed. So the Browns took another receiver in Washington's Denzel Boston. They drafted Casey Concepcion yesterday, of course, with pick number 24 overall, but Boston was one of those guys that had been linked to them in mock drafts going back even pre-combine. In fact, in a couple of mine, I had them taking him at 24. So what's there to like about Boston? He's kind of fairly opposite of Casey Concepcion, which is why I like this pick. Concepcion, smaller, shiftier, more versatile. Boston, bigger, taller frame. He's 6'4", 210. He's immediately going to be the biggest receiver in this Browns room. He uses his frame really well. He has very coordinated footwork. I think that's a huge plus. I think he's going to immediately have this chance to be a threat for the Browns in the red zone because of his sure hands and the fact that he's really good at those sort of 50-50 jump ball catches. In fact, Dane Brugler, in his The Beast draft guide over at The Athletic, said that Boston has vacuum hands, which I love to describe him after watching his film. You can check out all of our coverage from this entire draft weekend over at cleveland.com/Browns.
This is courtesy of cleveland.com, Ashley Bastock. And again, hey, who has all this media coverage for you guys? We do it here, and we appreciate you guys being here with us. Let's see what Jimmy Watkins had to say about Denzel Boston, right? So from cleveland.com also. Courtesy of cleveland.com. So let's see what he had to say.
Okay, Denzel Boston at 39. He's going to be your touchdown machine, your red zone go-to guy for the Browns in this new revamped wide receiver room. Since 2024, only 4 Power 4 wide receiver or Power Conference wide receivers have recorded at least 20 touchdowns. Denzel Boston's one of them. The rest of the list is Jeremiah Smith, Indiana's Elijah Surratt, and Indiana's Omar Cooper. That's NFL company across the board. And, oh, by the way, Denzel Boston played 2 fewer games than anybody else on that list. This is a guy with his frame and his strong hands, only 3 drops since 2024. Reliable target in the red zone. basically, think of it this way. It's like if the Cedric Tillman pick worked out and he turned out to be everything that the Browns wanted.
All right, so you hear this about how good and all the touchdowns he can get. And that's what we need. We need people to grab these touchdowns.